Holly, East Lake. It starts, and the way it is, point standing wise, you start based on the number of points. So that means Patrick Cantlay, who won last week, it was a big win for him at the BMW. He starts at -10. And so after him is Tony Finau, -8, Bryson DeChambeau, -7, and so forth.
Brooksy!
Don't say Brooksy around him. You're going to get taken off the golf course. Anyway, of those three, and there are some longer shots, I think John Rahm, who's 4-back, has a shot. What's your take on that? Do you think Cantlay can hold off everybody and with that start of 10 under par?
I think he can. I think he's obviously got the game with the most important club in the bag, maybe the putter, to do that. I think he's also a guy that I would tell aspiring golfers, don't watch him actually putt because he does it the way that they'll never teach you to. Huge backswing, barely follows through. Try that on your local muni and you're going to putt the ball into the water like Joe Starkey did this past weekend. I think that anybody in that group you mentioned has a chance. I always like Rahm in these situations, mainly because Rahm gets ticked off and seems to play his best golf when he's like that. And he was unhappy about the way this format's set up. He said, I know why they do it to try to gin up excitement, but it's basically not fair that I was really good all season and then I could have it taken away from me. I like Rahm to make a push here because I think he's got the game to go the absolute lowest of any of those guys in a given 4-day stretch.
Yeah, and the fact that he got screwed out of, quite frankly, the Muirfield Village. He had a 6-shot lead, and then because of a COVID situation was taken out. And if he had that, he'd be at 10 under par and in the lead. All right, let's go to the phone lines. We have Tim in Monaca, Pennsylvania. First up tonight, Tim. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Bob. Hey, Chris. Hey, we watched apart games as much as we can. Is there a large interest in people concerned about what goes on in AAA and AA? I'd prefer to hear about the game and not the AAA, AA.
Beggars can't be choosy.
What's going on?
There's not much to talk about
here. Tim, the Major League team is 30-plus games under 500. They have the second worst run differential in all of baseball coming into today's games. I mean, this is a blast from the past in like 2010 when we were all talking about Tyone and who else they had maybe coming up. This is what it is. When your major league club is pretty wretched, and the Pirates are very much that, people are naturally going to gravitate towards stories of Nick Gonzalez hitting a walk-off grand slam for High A Greensboro. The Grasshoppers, yes. People are going to be focused on that stuff and those players because those guys represent the next wave of hope. So you might be in the distinct minority in wanting to have a focus on the Yoshi Tsutsugo's of the world.
Well, all they're selling right now is hope. And when you sell hope, you can't guarantee anything beyond that, and we'll see. I mean, Gonzalez had a great and that's a worthy story. I mean, 15 runs batted in 2 days is pretty phenomenal, regardless of what level, regardless of the opposition. But, you know, quite frankly, I don't see many people at AAA who's going to come up here next year and be an impact player. Cole Tucker's back. What's he been doing? I mean, at some point, they're going to have to shut the door on him and just say that just didn't work. A first-round pick. Newman had a couple of wild throws tonight. You know, so.
Oh, but at least Newman makes up for it with his power bat.
Yeah, they don't have a lot. And to me, the most concerning thing of all of this, Chris, is Ke'Bryan Hayes. Only because I think people got caught up in the expectation level, which went way high after 1 month. He's never, and I said back then, I mean, it's a great start for him, but don't expect, if you expect that, you're never going to get that. So the question is next year, what will he be?
I mean, that's a good point. I admittedly got caught up in it. I do think in that weird year he should have won Rookie of the Year. I mean, he was that good for that 1 month. But the problem is he had everybody's sort of captive attention as sort of the future hope of the franchise, and he came up and delivered beyond anyone's wildest dreams. But again, as you pointed out, for 1 month, when you have that much focus on what you're doing and when it's that short of a sample, but people don't really think of it in those terms, you're bound to have disappointments. The fact that he hurt his hand slamming his helmet, not good. We bring back Oliver Perez's laundry cart and they can commiserate on how to get injured, getting upset by things.
Or
I know.
Rodriguez
There's a blast from
boxing
the past.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I mean, did you think you'd get an Ollie Perez laundry cart reference tonight? That's why old Mulsey brings the goods. I bring the T-shirts and the blazers and the old school references. I think Perez is still pitching in the majors, by the way, which is incredible.
At age 62, yes.
Yeah. Honestly, it is troubling that Hayes isn't hitting as much because I do think what would have made him, what the concept of him being a very special cornerstone player wasn't just tied up in him playing defense like Brooks Robinson. It had to come with a bat that was something like Nolan Arenado light, and I don't think we're going to get that from him. and therefore that sort of changes my outlook on what he might be ceiling-wise as a Pittsburgh Pirate.
I'll take Austin Riley like that. Give me that, and I'll be okay with it. All right, let's go out to Frank in Moon Township. Hey, Frank, how are you?
Hey, Bob, how are you tonight?
Good, thanks.
Good. Hey, you're talking about golf, and I just think a really cool thing that's happening this weekend is the Sondheim Cup in Toledo, Ohio. I think that's very cool for that city. That for the with the pandemic and everything that's been going on, it's good to see that they're playing in these areas that can really generate some money for some areas.
Yeah, I'm all for any of that going on. And quite frankly, last year was very weird for me. I'm sure for all golf fans, Chris, when there was nobody on the golf course, you could hear things going on. And even with big crowds, you can still hear Brooksy. And that's one thing that I find interesting. I didn't ask you about that, but I was going to. But thanks, Frank, for the call. I think the PGA Tour has gone a little too far here, and they have to understand that, tune stuff out. My goodness, I saw the Mets finally had to apologize for giving a thumbs down to everyone in the stands. Come on, man, you're being paid millions of dollars. Deal with it. You hear it, tune it out. Don't you have to do that? Isn't that part of it?
Yeah, I do think that that's part of it, and there are a lot of golfers who aren't particularly likable people away from the course. I'm sure you could tell some stories, maybe off the record here on the QT, on the Hush Hush about some of those guys, so I don't have a ton of sympathy. Having said that, I will say that the general cross-section of dude that shows up to a tournament to yell Brooksy at Bryson DeChambeau, and I'm a Koepka fan, by the way. I love the way he attacks out there and his mentality. But the cross-section of dude that does that, I got to be honest, there's a large part of me that would love to sock most of those guys in the face. I mean, I just can't even lie about it here on television. They are almost always the kind of bros that just wear out their welcome in about 60 seconds. Here's the interesting part of it, though, that I will say is kind of hypocritical by the PGA Tour. They have whatever that incentive was to try to get their guys more active on social media, right? Mm-hmm. They wanted to kind of drum up rivalries and have a cash bonus, basically, if you had a big, high Q rating and you were buzzworthy all the time. Well, if guys are going to do this, even if they're not going to admit that's why they're doing this, that's why Koepka doesn't mind all the attention. That's why probably on some level DeChambeau would tolerate it. If you're going to have guys incentivized to be more active and out there in creating rivalries, don't get mad when fans take sides. That's the whole point in rivalries, right? That fans are divided. You think Alabama and Auburn fans go to the Iron Bowl and they go, well, whoever wins, we just want to see a good game between our favorite two teams, Alabama and Auburn, in the Iron Bowl. That is a completely saccharine and sanitized experience. Come on. This is what you're going to do and what you're going to have if you're trying to seed the ground for that.
We have to go to a break here. On that note, though, the PGA Tour also endorses and wants to increase scenes like what you see at the Phoenix Open, which are number 16, the par 3, surrounded by people who are completely drunk and hammered, and they're saying whatever they want to. If you want more of that, you're going to get some of this Brooksy stuff going on. So it is a double-edged sword. We got to take a break here, come back with more right on Pittsburgh CW.